The sun has just peeked over Skull Mountain. Poor Joe wakes up with a stomach growling like thunder. Today, he craves fish. Not the chewy, dried kind, but a fresh, slippery silver fish. Joe grabs a bunch of golden bananas, the hardest currency in this cave, and rushes to the rock market. In Joe's simple mind, the math is easy. 1 bunch of bananas equals 2 fish. That was the price yesterday, the day before, and last week. But life is not a dream, and this market does not run on Joe's fantasies. When Joe arrives at Fat Chief's stall, he throws down the bananas and flashes 2 fingers. But Fat Chief just smirks, wiggles his belly, and holds up 1 tiny pinky finger. 1 bunch, half a fish. His greedy eyes say it all. Joe is stunned. Joe is furious. Joe thinks he is being robbed in broad daylight, but Joe is wrong. It is not the chief being evil. It is the law of the cave at work. To understand why Joe is getting fleeced, we must look beyond the stall. We must look at the 2 great forces ruling this valley, the river god and the belly god. First is supply. Imagine supply is the hunters and the river out there. Supply is the amount of fish swimming around waiting to be caught. When the river is full and fish are as common as leaves, catching them is as easy as eating berries. That is high supply. The chief's basket overflows with rotting fish because he cannot sell them fast enough. Second is demand. This represents the empty bellies of the entire tribe. Demand is the desperate desire to own that fish. When the village is tired of eating mammoth meat and craves fish soup, or when the neighboring tribe comes over for a vacation, no demand shoots up to the sky. Everyone holds bananas and screams for fish. Price, or the amount of bananas Joe must pay, is not made up by the Fat Chief. It is the ugly baby born from the violent marriage of supply and demand. Back to Joe's tragedy this morning. Why is the price cutting his throat? Look at the river. Last night there was a huge storm. The water is wild, and the fish are hiding in the mud. 10 hunters went out, 9 came back empty-handed. The amount of fish at the market is tiny. This is low supply. At the same time, today is the Wildcat Festival. The whole tribe wants a fancy feast for good luck. Everyone wants to buy fish. This is high demand. When supply is low and demand is high, the fish becomes a rare gem. Fat Chief knows that if Joe doesn't pay the crazy price, Bob the neighbor is standing right behind him with 2 bunches of bananas ready to snatch it. The price hike is just a cruel way to kick poor people like Joe out of the line. Conversely, imagine next week. The salmon migrate back, filling the river. High supply. But the whole tribe just got food poisoning yesterday and wants to vomit when looking at fish. Low demand. Now Fat Chief will have to kneel and beg Joe, "Please, Joe, 1 banana for 10 fish." That is when the power belongs to the buyer. And somewhere in between, there is a spot called the Happy Handshake, where the number of sellers meets the exact number of buyers. That is when the market is peaceful and the price is stable. So what is the lesson for Joe? And for you, the cave investors? First, never blindly rush to buy when you see the whole village fighting for it. Yeah, when everyone wants to buy, that is when demand is peaking. And the price is at its most ridiculous. Don't be the fool holding the last banana jumping into the fire. Second, watch the river, supply, before you look at the price tag. If you know the dry season is coming and fish will be rare, buy dried fish now while it is cheap. Don't wait until you are starving to go to the market. Third, if something is printed as much as falling leaves in infinite supply, its value will go to 0, no matter how much you crave it. The complex financial world is really just a giant fish market. Understand supply and demand, and you will never be led by the nose by the Fat Chief again. You will know when to hold your bananas, and when to feast. Now, put out the torch and share this secret with those planning to trade their cave for a withered tulip. See you at the next barbecue. Don't forget to throw a like rock at the cave wall, so I have the energy to keep telling stories.